Alright, so in this video, I want to talk with you guys about how AI might not be killing your creativity, but how it can actually enhance it. And this is going to come from a video that I saw. I had to do a long drive recently. So I was listening to this podcast, or not this podcast, but there's a long freaking video on this talk from this dude named Jeremy Utley. And this dude is somebody I've been listening to for a little bit. He talks a lot about AI, and he's a Harvard professor, so he's able to dive in and learn about this and distill it very, very well. And I want to share with you guys what I learned from that and how you can use it to actually practically use AI in your day-to-day life. He gave a lot of good insights, and I want to share it with you guys because I think it's amazing when you find out how to use it in your life. All right, so firstly, the first thing that he said is that AI allows you to unlock the ability to have a lot of ideas. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you put out a lot of ideas, you actually end up getting great ideas. So the example he gave for this is that he said they did a test with a photography class. They had a whole bunch of people in photography class. They brought them in and they started doing they got them into two groups. One group, I want you to do one great photo and bring it into me by the end of the class. And based on that, you're going to get either an A or you're going to get a bad grade. And the other side of the group, I want you to do 100 photos minimum. Don't worry about the quality, just do 100 photos minimum. And at the end, we'll see which side actually has the best photos. And of course, the people with 100 photos minimum were able to get the best photos, not even focusing on quality, just focusing on getting them out. So the reason that that's so important is because it shows that when you are able to get quality or able to get quantity of ideas, quantity of stuff put out, automatically you start getting better and better at what you're doing, but you start getting better overall at putting that stuff out and the ability to get something of quality from that quantity. And he said it's funny because he recently put out a book called Idea Flow. And in that book, he mentions that the importance of these ideas is that you can't focus on the quality so much. You just got to get a quantity out, and that allows you to get your best ideas yet. And he said it's amazing because right after that book came out, he actually realized that ChatGPT had come out at the same time also. So ChatGPT is something that allows ChatGPT and AI allow us to get all these freaking ideas out. You know, you can go and ask it for 100 ideas on something that you're dealing with right now, a simple problem you're dealing with. And allowing it to just pump out these ideas is like having a creative partner that's just going to be throwing ideas at you. A lot of them are going to be freaking bad, but some of them are going to click with you, or some of them might spark an idea for something else. So it kind of lets you get out of that perfectionist mindset. It lets you just try stuff out. And, you know, like even with my videos, I'm trying to get more videos out. And I don't want to think so much about like the nitty gritty of it. I just want to get these videos out so that I can get better and better. Just like the photography example he gave, sometimes you can't focus on quality so much. You just have to get quantity out because that creates the quality. So whatever you're creating right now, whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to improve at, if you can use AI and leverage AI to help you get more quantity out without having to think so much about it, maybe it could take off the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, automatically you start getting better faster. The second thing that you should do is let AI ask you questions. The crazy part is that most people don't realize that AI gets smarter once you let it start asking you questions first. You don't always have to know what you want to ask. You don't always have to know the exact problem you're dealing with. Sometimes you could just ask it to ask you questions and it starts getting context on your situation. It starts pulling it all together so that it knows exactly what you need solved. So basically what you could do is the next time that you're dealing with a problem, the next time that you want something solved, simply ask ChatGPT to ask you 3 questions first so that it understands what you're actually dealing with. It's going to ask you these questions, and if you still don't feel like it really understands what you're dealing with, you can ask it to ask you more, and you start being able to just brain dump the context of what you're dealing with. And a lot of the times I've realized that actually helps me understand my problem because I thought I understood it, but once I started talking about the context of it, explaining it a little bit more, I realized I didn't understand it at all, but now I've got a better understanding because you talk about it. It's like when you go out and you're talking about something you're dealing with somebody, and all of a sudden you realize, okay, that's actually the solution I needed. Sometimes I don't even have to get an answer for ChatGPT, but simply talking about it allows me to start thinking about it, allows it to start working in my brain. So the next time that you're stuck with something, just simply ask it to ask you questions. That's going to automatically enable it to just start getting more and more context and give you a better answer overall. So sometimes ChatGPT is not stupid. Sometimes it just needs a little bit more context. Sometimes it just needs to know the situation that you're in. And you can even just talk about yourself too. The more that it gets to know you, the more that it learns what you really need, how you learn, the more it gives you better answers overall. Okay, and the last one is going to be a little bit of 2 things. Firstly, thinking about it as a creative partner, and secondly, asking the question, could it? What I mean by that is asking, could it help me with this? Could it help me with this? Once you start asking yourself that question and you start figuring out how it can actually help you, if you start working it through, you're going to realize it can help you with almost anything. And when you figure out one thing with it, you start thinking about bigger and bigger things with it. The example that the dude gave in the talk, he was saying that his grandma, who's 90 years old, started asking him, what's this ChatGPT thing that you're always talking about? And he was like, well, it's something that you can kind of work through things with. And she's like, well, like I believe it was elderly assisted housing, that's what it was. And she said, I need help figuring out assisted housing and when I should get into it. They start talking about it, and all of a sudden, they start getting amazing answers for questions that she had. He did the exact thing. He asked ChatGPT to ask her 3 questions about this to get a little bit more info on it. And it started asking her, have you been feeling like a little bit injured, or a little bit like you can't get up the stairs as well anymore? You can't do things that you used to do. And she's like, well, XYZ, I am kind of feeling a little bit of this. All of a sudden it has context on her, and it's able to give her an answer that was freaking amazing. It's able to give her more understanding of what she was dealing with. And she said to him, it's amazing that it was able to do that. Like, I never thought about it in that way before. So a couple of days later, or a couple of weeks later, all of a sudden he's just sitting at his house. He gets a text from her saying, my green bean casserole is not going very well. Do you think that your chat thing can help me with that? And all of a sudden he's like, heck yeah, I could help you with that. So just the fact that she figured out one thing with it, and it opened her mind to what else that it can actually help with it. So if you don't know exactly how it can help you right now, just try figuring out stuff that you're dealing with right now. If you could figure out one thing, all of a sudden you start thinking about what else it might be able to help you with. When I first started with it, I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea what it could actually help me with. But then you start tinkering with it. I start using it for my videos. I start using it to build habits. I start using it in my workouts to figure out my workout system. And all these little things that I start seeing that I never thought it could help me with before. But once I start doing one thing after another, now I'm using, like, every time I have a problem, I just go talk it through with it. I just go figure it out. I just go tinker with it. And don't expect it to give you an amazing answer. That's why it's Creative Partner. It's not supposed to give you an amazing answer right off the bat. Something he constantly reiterated in that video is that you're not supposed to think about it as an oracle, which is basically somebody who knows all and is going to give you the perfect answer right off the bat. Think about it as a creative partner that you're trying to work through an idea with. When you start thinking about it like that, you're able to not expect it to give you the perfect answer right off the bat, but just kind of work it through, ask it questions about what it gave you, ask it to ask you questions, and you start working this problem out little by little, and eventually you get it solved. It just takes a little bit more time than most of us think. So these are just 3 ways that I think that can really help you guys practically use it in your lives. Remember, use it to get more quantity out, use it to ask you questions, and then thirdly, what I just said right now, just thinking about it as a could I do something? Could I do this? Could I do this with it? Just think about it like that, and automatically you're going to start to be able to unlock a little bit more of the creativity, your creativity with ChatGPT, with AI, all that stuff, and really unlocking the power of AI right now. I love you guys. Hope this helps. Let me know how you're doing with this. Let me know how you're feeling with AI. Where are you on a scale of you're barely using it on a day-to-day basis, or you're using it every freaking day? Love you guys. Hope you have an amazing day, week. Peace.